You know as well as I do that once you flip the calendar to the month of August here in the Tennessee Valley, almost everyone is gearing up for football of some sort. And for all you high school football fans out there, the moms and dads of the high school football players, it probably catches you biting your nails a little bit, hoping that your son doesn't get injured on the field. But if that should happen, thank goodness the Center for Sports Medicine is there to help you. Brian Clary joins us again this morning. He is a physical therapist there and happens to manage the medical outreach program that they have at Center for Sports Med. So good to see you this morning.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
I'm glad to see you. I mean, I know there's nothing like watching a high school football game. For one thing, you're so close to the field and the players, and you watch these young kids run that ball with vigor. And when somebody gets hurt, parent or no, your heart just hurts, Brian. But thank goodness your team there can get them back up and playing usually pretty quickly.
It's a violent sport for sure, and I think that's probably what makes it so exciting for all of us to watch. And there's a lot of glory in it, and certainly a lot of glory in the people who have a big game on a Friday night. But it really is a wonder that somebody doesn't get injured with each play, with each contact. And so I think that is where our athletic trainers are so valuable at these schools. And you mentioned our sports medicine outreach program, and that's what I'm very fortunate with the Center for Sports Medicine to help manage. And the heart of that, the tip of that spear, is the athletic trainers that are within schools in Bradley County, Hamilton County, North Georgia, as well as the first teams for CFC and the Red Wolves. And it is truly an incredible service that they perform at those locations, taking care of athletes. And right now heat is a concern. So not only are they working to help diagnose and treat injuries, but they're also working through emergency action plans at each side, and in many cases are in charge of lightning and heat advisories, things like that. So you're right. There's a lot going on this fall.
When they are in those schools, before we leave that topic for a second, is part of what they're doing too making certain that the players are learning the right warm-ups and that they're executing plays in the most athletically safe way possible?
Absolutely. And so our athletic trainers, their only job is to be at the school or with the team. And part of that, how we think of it is in many situations, they are the most medical on site. For practices and things like that, there's not going to be a physician or EMTs or anyone out there. So everything, all encompassing, pretty much comes down to the athletic trainer. And part of their role is prevention. And that prevention may be, like you said, how to appropriately warm up and prepare your body, but it may also be nutrition, and it may be, just many other aspects of preparation for athletic events.
The season really is relatively short. So if your son gets injured on the field, it's a big problem because you don't want them to miss a moment, whether they go on to play in college or not. It's still part of their life experience at that age. So y'all began, almost 30 years ago now, these Saturday clinics to get the kids in almost immediately upon injury to get that injury healed as quickly as possible.
That's exactly right. And so that's the biggest difference, I think, between like a general population, general public, me, versus a high school kid or even college kid to that aspect, is that you've got, for the most part, you've got 4 years. And if we're thinking purely of football, you've only got 10 games within that 1 year that you even have a chance to play. And so the importance of Saturday Clinic, and the reason that we do it every year and why it's such a staple in our practice, is that if you are, perhaps injured Thursday, Friday, instead of having to wait until the next week, maybe at the soonest, to get in, to start the diagnostic process, to start the process of getting crutches or a boot, or even to get the order put in for imaging, You don't want to wait until Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because there's no chance you're coming back that week, maybe not even the next week at that point. And so what the Saturday clinic gives us the opportunity for is to get you in, number one, keep you out of an emergency room and really a non-emergent situation, an orthopedic situation, and allow you to get going on imaging. If we've got 2 locations with MRI. If you need an MRI, we can go ahead and get that ordered and put in. And in many cases, these athletes are having those MRIs and perform Monday. They're having them reviewed Wednesday, and then at that point, that will tell you whether or not you're going to be safe to go back to play Friday. And so there's really no differentiation from what that service is at any level. D1, professional athletes, down to high school athletes. Everybody wants to know, number one, am I safe? Number one, am I going to be okay? But then followed quickly behind that, when can I go back and play again? When can I let my coach I can play? And so Saturday clinic gives us the opportunity to provide that to people in our community.
So before I let you run, that is so important for the athletes out there to hear. But the truth is the Center for Sports Medicine does not service just athletes. I mean, you see people like me, and I'm far from an athlete. So if I have an injury in my own life, that's urgent for me. So y'all have recently begun doing a walk-in kind of urgent ortho calendar so that people can pretty much be seen day of for their own need. Is that right?
That's exactly right, and that's exactly the purpose. And so new to the center, but not necessarily a new service that we provide, but just a more formal packaging is our Ortho Urgent clinic. And what that is the ability for anyone to get in. If you've got, recently injured yourself in the yard, or you've had a chronic issue that now all of a sudden in the last few days is getting much worse, that gives you the ability to be seen day of by fellowship trained physicians, and to get a plan going immediately. Now, obviously, if it is an emergent case and you've got a fracture, you're probably going to still need to go to the emergency department. But for people that need to get in and need to get some answers, it's a perfect opportunity to
Well,
come
it's
on.
been something I know y'all have worked on. You're very much embedded in the community, and part of that embedding is having all the locations around the area to make it convenient for people to find one of your doctors. So Brian, thank you. Let me show folks how they can get in touch. The phone number there at the McCauley Avenue location is just the easiest central one, 624-2696. If you want to go online to sportmed.com, you can see all the locations and a list of their doctors. And we're going to ward off any injuries this Friday, Brian, but just in case there are some, the Saturday clinic hours in Cleveland and on McCauley are what?
9 a.m. And so it's first come, first serve. I would be at the door at 8:45, and the order you come in the door is the order you'll be seen. Nobody will be turned away.
All right. Thank you so much. Great talking to you.
Thank you, Julie.